The world is loud, the quest is long, but here, the fire is warm and the data is safe. Welcome back to Restoring Mana. And before you drift off, leave a memory in the comments. Tell us about the one save point you'll never forget. Now let the world fade away. Tonight we are going to explore the history of this failing. The feeling of relief when you see that glowing circle of light. The sound of the ink ribbon clicking into the typewriter. The melody of the fairy fountain. We often think of saving the game as a technical necessity. A button we press so we don't lose our progress. But the history of the save point is much deeper than that. It is a story about memory. It is a story about how we learned to trust these digital worlds to remember us when we were gone. So close your eyes. Let the fire warm your hands. And let us travel back to a time before memory existed. In the beginning, there was no way to save. The earliest video games were fleeting things. Like a dream, once you woke up, once you turned off the console, the world vanished. If you played Super Mario Bros. On the NES, you played it in one breath. There was no pausing the timeline. If you lost, or if your mother called you for dinner, you simply started over. The kingdom was forgotten. But as games became larger, as they grew from simple arcades into sprawling adventures, we needed a way to leave a mark. We needed a bookmark. Enter the era of the password. Imagine sitting on the floor of your childhood bedroom. The year is 1987. The glow of the CRT TV is the only light in the room. You have just spent 4 hours fighting your way through the dungeons of Metroid or the brutal streets of River City Ransom. You are tired. Your eyes are heavy. You want to sleep, but you cannot leave. Not yet. You press pause. And there on the screen is the spell. A grid of letters, numbers, symbols. 18 characters long, sometimes 30. You scramble to find a pen, a piece of paper, the back of an envelope. And you begin to write. Capital A, lowercase q, the number 5. This was the ritual. Before the save point became a place, it was a code. A secret language between you and the machine. But there was an anxiety in this ritual. Do you remember it? The fear that you wrote it down wrong. Was that a 0 or the letter O? Was that a lowercase l or a number 1? If you made a single mistake, if your handwriting was messy, then the next morning when you typed it back in, the game would simply say, invalid. And those 4 hours, those levels, those victories would be gone. Lost to the void forever. This was a harsh era. It taught us that memory was fragile. It taught us that to save something required effort. It required a physical act. But then something magical happened. A shift that felt like sorcery. In 1986, Nintendo released a game in a gold cartridge. The Legend of Zelda. It was different from the others. It was heavy, it was shiny. But the real magic was hidden inside the plastic. Inside that gold cartridge, soldered onto the green circuit board, was a small, round watch battery. A CR2032 lithium cell. This battery had one job: to stay awake even when you went asleep. Think about how impossible that felt. When you turned off your Nintendo, the electricity died, the screen went black, the fan stopped spinning. The world should have ended. But inside the cartridge, that tiny battery kept a microscopic trickle of power flowing to a single chip of RAM. It was keeping the memory alive, holding the image of your sword, your rupees, your location in Hyrule, holding it in suspended animation. It was a living thing, a heartbeat inside the plastic. This changed everything. Suddenly, you didn't need a pen and paper. You just pressed save, and the game remembered you. But this introduced a new kind of fear. A deeper, more existential fear. Because batteries eventually die. We didn't know it at the time. We thought our saves were permanent. But every battery has a lifespan, 5 years, maybe 10. There is a tragic beauty in realizing that millions of Pokémon saves, millions of Charizards and Mews and first-time Hall of Fame teams, eventually quietly vanished. When the battery ran dry, the world evaporated. It reminds us that even digital memories are not eternal. They need power, they need care. They need to be remembered. As technology advanced, the save began to move. It moved from a menu into the world itself. Developers realized that saving shouldn't just be a utility. It should be Let us enter the darker corners of the memory card. Until now, we have treated the save point as a sanctuary, a place where the rules of the game protect you. But there is a specific genre of horror that understands that the save file is your soul. And if the game can touch your soul, it can truly terrify you. Think of Metal Gear Solid, 1998. The battle against Psycho Mantis. He does not just attack your character. He attacks your history. So you like Castlevania, don't you? He asks. You are reckless. You haven't saved your game in a long time. He is reading your memory card. He is looking into your past. Suddenly, the plastic card in slot 1 isn't just a piece of hardware. It is a vulnerability. It is a secret that the game has uncovered. This was the birth of the meta save. The realization that the boundary between the player and the game is the save file. Move forward to the year 2017. A game called Doki Doki Literature Club or Undertale. These games do not just record your progress. They remember your sins. If you commit a terrible act and then reload your save to try and fix it, the characters know. You think you can just go back, they ask. The save file becomes a witness. You cannot hide from the data. Even when you delete the file, sometimes the game leaves a ghost. A tiny bit of code hidden in the system registry that ensures you can never truly start over with a clean conscience. This creates a profound sense of weight. It tells the player that their actions have permanence, even in a digital world. That the undo button is a lie. And then there is the save graveyard. The Dreamcast, the original Xbox, the Nintendo 64. Millions of consoles sitting in attics. Inside them are millions of frozen lives. Think of a character in a role-playing game. They are at level 99. They have the best armor. They have saved the world. And then the player turns the console off for the last time. That hero is now trapped. They are waiting at the entrance to the final dungeon forever. They are standing in a town square, in a world that never moves. There is a strange, quiet loneliness to an old save file. It is a snapshot of who you were 5, 10, 20 years ago. The names you gave your characters. The items you decided were important. The place you chose to stop. When we return to an old save, we are not just playing a game. We are time traveling. We are looking at the digital footprint of our younger selves. And as we delete that file to start a new game, we feel a twinge of guilt. Because to delete the save is to finally let that hero die. As we approach the end of our journey, let us look at the glitch. To a speedrunner, the save point is not a sanctuary. It is a weapon. They use save states to manipulate luck. They use save warps to teleport across the map. By saving and quitting at the exact right frame, they can trick the game into thinking they are somewhere else. They break the logic of the world by manipulating the very moment the world is written to memory. To the speedrunner, the save point is a doorway, a glitch in the matrix. It proves that these worlds are just math, just bits and bytes that can be bent to our will. But for the rest of us, the save point remains something more. It is the great leveler. It doesn't matter if you are a master player or someone struggling with the first level. The save point treats you the same. It offers the same light, the same peace. Think of the end of the world save. The one you make right before the final boss. The point of no return. The game usually gives you a warning. If you proceed, you cannot turn back. This is the most heavy save of all. It is the culmination of dozens of hours. You stand there looking at the glowing icon. You check your inventory one last time. You make sure your mana is full. You press the button. The music swells. The data is written. And you feel it, that final click. The feeling that, whatever happens next, this part of you is preserved. We have traveled through the history of the password, through the humming tubes of the Metroid stations, through the glowing crystals of Gaia, and the stone benches of ancient castles. We have learned that the save point is more than a mechanic. It is an admission of our own humanity. We cannot play forever. We cannot be perfect. We need to rest. The save point is the game's way of saying, go live your life, eat, sleep, dream. I will be here when you return. Nothing will change. Your progress is a promise. So, as our own journey comes to a close, look at the blue potion on your screen. Listen to the quiet rustle of the forest. The mana has been restored. The fire has burned down to embers. You have found your own point of no return. The night is quiet. The world is safe. The data is recorded. Close your eyes. The next time you wake, the overworld will be waiting. But for now, the quest is over. You can rest. Sleep well. Let us return to the physical world, to the age of the battery-backed save. Before flash memory, before the cloud, our memories were powered by chemistry. Open a cartridge of The Legend of Zelda or Chrono Trigger. Inside, next to the green circuit board, sits a small silver disc, a CR2032 lithium battery. This battery was the beating heart of your progress. Its only job was to provide a tiny, constant stream of electricity to the RAM chip, just enough to keep the data from evaporating. As long as that battery lived, your world existed. But batteries are mortal. They were designed to last 10, perhaps 15 years. We are now living in the great dark of retro gaming. Across the world, in closets and basements, old batteries are failing. The Link you leveled up in 1991, the Pokémon you caught in 1998, they are vanishing. Not because you deleted them, but because a chemical reaction simply ran out of breath. This is the tragedy of the physical save. Our digital childhoods were built on a ticking clock. It reminds us that even in the world of software, nothing is truly permanent. But as the hardware failed, the culture grew. Consider the concept of the save point in public spaces. In the early 2000s, the save point moved from the screen into the real world. In Japan and later across Europe, developers began to realize that the save point was a symbol. It was the universal icon for safety. You began to see save points appearing in art galleries. Statues of the Final Fantasy save crystal, placed in the middle of busy train stations. Why? Because the modern world is exhausting. A train station is a place of transit, of noise, of stress. By placing a save point there, the artist was telling the public, you can stop here. Your progress is tracked. You are allowed to rest. This is the psychological power of the mechanic. It is a locus of control. In a game where you are constantly being attacked, the save point is the only place where you are the master of your own time. Let us look at a specific technical evolution, the cross-save. The PlayStation VIII and the PlayStation 3. This was a radical shift in the philosophy of the save point. For 30 years, a save file was a prisoner. It lived on a specific cartridge or a specific memory card. But with the arrival of the cloud, the save point became a ghost. It could travel. You could save your game of Final Fantasy X on your television, turn it off, and walk onto a bus. You could pull your Vita from your pocket, and the game would ask, do you wish to descend the cloud? Suddenly, the restoring mana ritual was no longer tied to a place. It was tied to an identity. The save file was no longer a file. It was you. Have you ever wondered about the games that refuse to let you save? The roguelike, named after the 1980 game, Rogue. In these games, there is no save point. There is only the suspend. If you die, the file is deleted. Permanently. This is the antithesis of the mana restoration philosophy. This is permanent consequence. It creates a different kind of player. A player who does not rely on the safety net, but who embraces the fall. Yet, even in these harsh worlds, the save point exists in the mind. It is the moment between floors. The moment you put the Steam Deck down and breathe. Now, let us talk about the quick save on modern consoles. The Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. Specifically, Quick Resume. This is the ultimate evolution of the save point. The hardware is now so fast that it can take a snapshot of the entire system memory. 16 gigabytes of data dumped onto the solid-state drive in seconds. You can be in the middle of a jump in Halo, switch to a race in Forza, and then switch back. The game does not reload. The save point is the exact frame you left. You are suspended in time, like a fly in amber. We have moved from password, writing the world down, to battery powering the world, to memory card holding the world, to cloud uploading the world, to instant state freezing the world. We have conquered the game over. We have mastered the reset. But I want you to think about the very first time you ever saved a game. The feeling of relief. The fear that the power would go out before the bar reached 100%. The write protection tab on the side of a floppy disk. We are the first generations of humans who can pause our lives, who can undo a mistake, who can reload a memory. It is a superpower. And like all superpowers, it is best used when you are tired, when the mana is low, when the quest is too long and the night is too dark. So look at your potion again. The blue liquid, the slow bubbles, the quiet forest. Every fact we have discussed, every chip, every battery, every line of code. It was all built for this one purpose, to let you let go. The history of the save point is the history of our need for peace. And you have found it, right here, in the blue light. Let us close our eyes and listen. Because the history of the save point is not just visual, it is auditory. For decades, sound designers have used specific frequencies to signal safety, to trigger a Pavlovian response in your brain. Think of the Metroid series. Samus Aran is alone. She is deep underground on a hostile alien planet. There is no dialogue, no friends, only the screech of creatures in the dark. And then you find the save station. It is a small, claustrophobic tube. You step inside, the glass descends. And you hear it. A low, resonant, electronic hum. Thrummum. It is the sound of technology working in your favor. For 5 seconds, the hostility of the planet is locked out. The music of the level fades, replaced by a sterile, safe silence. It tells you the machine has you. You are held. Contrast this with the silence of Silent Hill 2. Here, the save point is not a machine. It is a red square painted on a wall, or a notepad left on a desk. When James Sunderland looks at the red square, he says, "It feels like someone is groping around inside my skull." Saving here is not a relief. It is a confrontation. You are recording your trauma. The red square is a mirror, reflecting the horror back at you. It suggests that the only way to save your progress is to admit your sins. Let us move to the codec. Metal Gear Solid, 1998. Frequency 140.96. In the midst of a tactical espionage mission, surrounded by genome soldiers, you kneel down. You press your finger to your ear, and you call Mei Ling. Snake, do you remember the saying? She does not just save your data. She quotes literature. Shakespeare, Confucius, proverbs from the East and West. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. This transformed the save point from a mechanic into a relationship. You weren't saving at a terminal. You were calling a friend who worried about you. "Don't you think you've played enough for today, Snake?" she would ask. "Your eyes must be tired." It broke the fourth wall in the most gentle way possible. It was the game developers speaking through her, asking you to take care of yourself, reminding you that you are human. And finally, let us speak of the divine. In the West, we save game. But in the early days of the JRPG, specifically Dragon Quest, you did not save. You confessed. You walked into a church. You spoke to a priest. Thou hast done well to return. To save your soul was to save your data. The ledger of your experience points was treated as a spiritual record. If you died, you were resurrected. But it cost you gold. The church took a donation. This established a link between progress and faith. The idea that the hero is guided by a higher power. That higher power is you, the player. You are the deity guiding the pixelated little knight, keeping him safe from the void. As graphics improved, the save point became diegetic. This means it stopped being a floating menu and became a real object in the world. an object that followed the rules of reality. Consider the game Ico, a story about a boy with horns and a girl made of light. They do not speak the same language. They are being hunted by shadows. How do you save? You do not open a menu. You find a stone couch, and you sit down. Together, the camera pulls back. Aiko and Yorda sit side by side. Sometimes they fall asleep. Sometimes they just look at the view. But they are always touching. Saving the game requires intimacy. It requires a moment of shared peace. It tells the player the connection between these two is the only thing that matters. Move from the sublime to the ridiculous. Kingdom Come Deliverance. A medieval simulation obsessed with realism. You cannot just save the game whenever you want. That would be magic, and there is no magic here. To save, you must drink. Specifically, save your schnapps. An alcoholic beverage. If you want to bookmark your timeline, you must get your character drunk. If you save too often, you become an alcoholic. Your hands shake, your stats drop. You become addicted to saving. This is a brilliant commentary on the player's anxiety. We are addicted to safety. We are addicted to the quick save. The game punishes you for it. It says live with your mistakes, put the bottle down. And then the most stressful save mechanic ever created. The Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask. The owl statues. In this world, the moon is falling. You have 3 days. If time runs out, the world ends. And you lose everything. You can reset time by playing the Song of Time. This is a hard save, but it resets the world, all your work undone. If you want to save in the middle of a cycle, you must hit an owl statue. But this creates a temporary save, a suspend point. As soon as you load the game, the save deletes itself. If the power goes out while you are playing, the file is gone. If you die, the file is gone. You cannot reload an owl save. It is a one-way ticket. This created a sense of dread that is unmatched. You are holding your breath, knowing there is no safety net. The owl is not a promise of safety. It is a gamble. Finally, let us return to the most classic image of all. The tent, the inn, the sleeping bag. From Final Fantasy to Baldur's Gate, the act of sleeping is the ultimate reset. The screen fades to black. A short musical jingle plays. Do, 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 do. We see the numbers fly up. HP restored. MP restored. Status effects removed. Poison cured. There is something deeply primal about this. It reminds us of the real world. No matter how hard the day was. No matter how many battles we fought. Sleep washes it away. We wake up with a full bar. The sun is rising. The innkeeper waves goodbye. And we step back out into the overworld. Ready to fight again. Ready to explore. Because we know that when the night comes, there will always be a bed waiting for us. Just like there is one waiting for you right now. Here is the text for Part 9 isolated so you can easily copy it into your Part 9 TXT file, along with the code to render it. This section covers the emotional ending, Ico, Zelda, and the concept of sleep, so we will stick with the void blend to make it sound deep and finalizing. 1. The text file Part 9 TXT. Copy this into a new text file. Plain text. As graphics improved, the save point became diegetic. This means it stopped being a floating menu and became a real object in the world. An object that followed the rules of reality. Consider the game Ico. A story about a boy with horns and a girl made of light. They do not speak the same language. They are being hunted by shadows. How do you save? You do not open a menu. You find a stone couch, and you sit down. Together, the camera pulls back. Ico and Yorda sit side by side. Sometimes they fall asleep. Sometimes they just look at the view. But they are always touching. Saving the game requires intimacy. It requires a moment of shared peace. It tells the player the connection between these two is the only thing that matters. Move from the sublime to the ridiculous. Kingdom Come Deliverance. A medieval simulation obsessed with realism. You cannot just save the game whenever you want. That would be magic, and there is no magic here. To save, you must drink. Specifically, save your schnapps. An alcoholic beverage. If you want to bookmark your timeline, you must get your character drunk. If you save too often, you become an alcoholic. Your hands shake, your stats drop. You become addicted to saving. This is a brilliant commentary on the player's anxiety. We are addicted to safety. We are addicted to the quick save. The game punishes you for it. It says live with your mistakes, put the bottle down. And then the most stressful save mechanic ever created. The Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask. The owl statues. In this world, the moon is falling. You have 3 days. If time runs out, the world ends. And you lose everything. You can reset time by playing the Song of Time. This is a hard save. But it resets the world, all your work undone. If you want to save in the middle of a cycle, you must hit an owl statue. But this creates a temporary save. A suspend point. As soon as you load the game, the save deletes itself. If the power goes out while you are playing, the file is gone. If you die, the file is gone. You cannot reload an owl save. It is a one-way ticket. This created a sense of dread that is unmatched. You are holding your breath, knowing there is no safety net. The owl is not a promise of safety. It is a gamble. Finally, let us return to the most classic image of all. The tent, the inn, the sleeping bag. From Final Fantasy to Baldur's Gate, the act of sleeping is the ultimate reset. The screen fades to black. A short musical jingle plays. Do, 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 do. We see the numbers fly up. HP restored. MP restored. Status effects removed. Poison cured. There is something deeply primal about this. It reminds us of the real world. No matter how hard the day was, no matter how many battles we fought, sleep washes it away. We wake up with a full bar. The sun is rising. The innkeeper waves goodbye. And we step back out into the overworld, ready to fight again, ready to explore. Because we know that when the night comes, there will always be a bed waiting for us. Just like there is one waiting for you right now.